Good afternoon, everyone. Francois here from the Lego Microbe Build channel. As promised, I'm going to do a quick comparison between the Asil supercar from Nifeliz that I just finished the other day and the Daytona SP3, which I finished a little while ago. This is a licensed product from Lego. This is an unlicensed supercar that they've just sort of invented out of thin air. There's a few significant differences between the two. On the Lego model, the doors do open and kind of stay open on their own. The transmission, they both have multi-gear reverse and forward gears. The gears on the Ferrari are inside, it's a stick shift. And the gears on the Nifeliz are paddle shift. Now, there are several Lego models with paddle shifts, and I said it early in one of the videos I made. The actual paddle shift mechanism on the Nifeliz seems to be working a little bit better, and that's because they put a roller bearing in between one of the sections where Lego hasn't. One of the other differences, as you can see, the doors on the Nifeliz are not designed to stay open. And as I said, I believe it's because this is more of a static model. This one has an adjustable spoiler. The Ferrari doesn't need one. The Ferrari has an engine compartment that you can open and see. Just had it opened a second ago. Oh, sorry, the whole thing opens. And you can see where the motor is and some of the suspension parts. The other kind of, when we talk about suspension, the Legos actually have a working suspension. Now, it's a little stiff on the front because this is a very low riding model. However, the suspension does work. We have a big trunk on the front of the Ferrari. And we have a little trunk on the front of the Nifeliz. Getting into some of the detail work, the finish, this is a standard type of finish on most any of the Lego products you're going to find. There'll be this kind of a sheen on it. A lot of the Chinese models I've seen have this sort of an iridescent, lustrous finish. One of the primary differences between the two, as I say, the Lego version has actual suspension. The Nifeliz has a variable suspension where you can actually adjust the stance of the vehicle by adjusting it this way. You also can raise and lower the rear end this way. Even going down, now going up. And you can store the adjustment tool as part of the windshield. And it has a split windshield. So getting into more detail on, and I'm just going to set this guy aside for a moment, so I'll be right back. So one of the things, as you guys have followed my video, you may have noticed that I did have some issues with a couple of parts missing. One part broke on me while I was working on it. That kind of gets into the difference in the actual quality of the parts. They are 100% compatible with the Lego units. However, they don't seem to be made out of the same material at all. And I've noticed, particularly with this combination of pins and flats, that it's very inconsistent. Sometimes these will just pop right in, and sometimes you just got to really force them in. Now, the last Lego model I did was the Bronco, and it also had very stiff pins. So some of them were not quite as stiff as these ones, but they were stiff nevertheless. The other thing of note, and when I first started this build, it really threw me off. This, and if any of you guys are Lego builders, these are the spare parts that I was left with. And in a typical Lego build, they do give you leftover parts, but they're likely to be, you know, things like this, like really small parts, and a few, not a lot. This is a 4,000 piece set. This is a lot of spare parts. I'm kind of pleased, but when I first started building the model, and I found that they left me an extra gear, you have no how many times I had to rebuild the transmission just to be sure that this gear was spare. It's very, very off-putting, but I get it. This was one of the parts that they duplicated instead of, there's a right and a left, so they sent me two rights, which leads me to believe that there is some part of this process is manual in the factory. However, I have to give them A+ for customer service. You send them a note saying, oh, this is missing, that's missing. Within a week, well, the next day they respond. Typically within, 5 or 6 days, you get your part in the mail, which I found was quite good. In all the times I've ever built a Lego model, I think once, years ago, I was missing a piece, and it took a while for it to show up. So their customer service is outstanding. They're very responsive to your needs. Talking sort of price-wise, I believe the Ferrari was just under 500, or under 600, sorry. The McLaren was 599. The Sienna was about that. The Bugatti was a little less because it was a little older. The GT, probably 5-ish, 4-ish at the time. At any rate, this one was $192 plus tax. The part count is, again, was 4,000. I don't really compare by part numbers. So is it value for money? 100%. Would I buy another one? I think so. The next time Lego has another supercar out, I will actually buy it as well. But the Asil was a very complicated build. I would say it's expert level. The way it's constructed, the way they have it built in sections. So you'll have, large modular sections. The biggest one I had 11 pins that had to be aligned simultaneously. And early on in the build, I realized that I had to make sure that the cross axles were aligned up and down, because the mating pins or posts that they were going to, they weren't going to go. And if you have more than 3 of them, it has blind entry for the most part, because you can't really see where they're going into. So that's another major build difference between say a Lego project and these. Legos tend to build outwards. They will have, chunks put together, but I've never had 12 pins to put together at the same time with the Lego product. However, again, value for money, 100%. It is a challenging build. You need to take your time. The instructions are relatively clear. Um, Sometimes they're a little open to interpretation, but not often. Um, and again, it was at some points very, very, very frustrating, and at some points it just sailed together. Like, for example, the doors. I thought it was going to be a nightmare. I mean, it was 2 days just to build one door. Oh, I thought this is going to be a million pins to put together. And there's only 3 connection points. I thought that was great. So with that, I think I will cut you loose on this video. I am still waiting. I have the tracking number for the new vehicle that's coming. Um, and with that, I think we'll cut you loose for now. Take a couple of stills and we'll catch you on the next video. Anyway, guys, I really do appreciate all the support I've got and the folks following me. My next series of videos will probably be me taking apart the assembly square, and hopefully by the time that's done, the new piece will be here and we can start over with that. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye now.